A first listen and analysis of The Trooper by Maiden. So me and my friend were having a little bit of a debate over this. Who has the better metal bands, the UK or America? Now, I think it's pretty clear. In the sub-genre of rock music, which is metal, I think the UK reigns supreme. I mean, you've got to think, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, who are certainly a form of metal, you could say are really originators of this thing. And then after that, you've got bands like Iron Maiden, Motorhead, which I've not checked out yet. You've got bands like Deep Purple, which I'm yet to check out too, all highly regarded. And then to argue for America, my friend was saying, well, you have maybe the kings of metal, which are Metallica. You have a band like Tool, who I love, who have a cult following, who are certainly a version of metal music. You have Pantera too, and many others who I'm kind of leaving out at the moment. But to me, it's pretty clear in terms of the originators and then subsequently great bands who came afterwards who did metal music. I think the UK reigns supreme. I don't know. I leave that up to you guys. I might even run a poll on this. Regardless of all of that, this is another Iron Maiden track. I'm curious to see what they've cooked up this time because I was so impressed by the last track I heard of theirs. It was Hallowed by Thy Name. It was this conceptual story about this guy who's kind of headed towards his death, and the fantastic guitars that existed on that record. They've got a bunch of great guitarists who have this style of weaving in and out of each other, which I love so much. This track is inspired by a poem, and as much as many of you guys may know from watching this channel, I love it when musicians take other forms of art, like a story from a book, a character from a book. This one happens to be a poem, and convert it into an audio format. So I'm curious to see how they've converted this poem into this song. So let's see what they've cooked up. This is Trooper by Iron Maiden. Damn, I love those guitars. Great groove, man. I noticed this about the last Iron Maiden track that I listened to. It was Hallowed by Thy Name. It sounds like a finale of something. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I played a lot of like Sega and stuff growing up. Maybe it's because of how influential Iron Maiden was, but a lot of that music that they use in those video games were very much similar to this kind of music. It sounds like some epic battle is about to take place, and that's kind of the atmosphere that is set by those fantastic guitars, especially the tone and texture of it. It really feels apocalyptic, final.
You better stand, there's no turning back. The fewer sounds, the charge begins. But on this battlefield, no one wins. The smell of factory smoke and heartless breath is a burden into sudden death.
Oh. Great drums. I think they're doing a fantastic job atmospherically of kind of painting a picture of what it would have been like to be in a war, especially in them times that this is based on, right? The Crimean War in the 1800s. It was an absolutely like hellacious scene. War in those, I mean, war in any time is difficult, but particularly in those times where they're using muskets with line infantry and cannons and explosions, and really medicine is at a very, very like basic level. I mean, it was the courage of these guys who kind of took them through these battles. But the madness of the scene is really portrayed well through this music, man. It sounds completely mental. Chaos everywhere. Dude, I absolutely love when tracks do this. I've noticed this happen in a lot of metal tracks. I noticed it first with War Pigs, when two guitars are kind of weaving in and out of each other, and they do it in a way that really makes it manic, crazy. It drenches the atmosphere in this sort of battleish battle scene, which of course they're trying to portray here. But due to these guitars weaving in and out of each other, it really reminds me, or pictures that kind of come in my mind, is that of a battle scene. Two things battling with each other, weaving in and out of one another.
The horses went with very quick to run. The mighty roar of the rushing guns. And as we race towards the human wall, the screams of pain as Montgomery's fall. We hurl our bodies gently on the ground, and the Russians fire another round. We get so near yet so far away. We will live to fight another day.
Doesn't it sound like certain times when they do the drums fills that come in, it sounds like horses marching, right? Or even men sort of marching. But to me, it sounds like a gallop of a horse. Check that out. I'll back it up again, and then you can kind of catch it. This bit, right? Damn! I think this band really benefits from the fact that there's so many brilliant guitarists playing at once. There's 2-3 guitar leads being played and a bass line, so they can weave in and out with all these guitars and this bass line that's forever present, man. It really adds a touch of mania. It makes the atmosphere so fantastic because you have so many layers of guitars going on at the same time. It's so brilliantly done. Great riff, man.
We got to coast near enough to fight. Where the Russian gets me in his sights. He pulled the trigger and I feel the blow. The burst of rounds take my horse below. And as I lay there gazing at the sky, the body's blood.
The first couple times I heard it, I thought it was maybe like galloping horses. I mean, it could also be musket fire, right? Brrr, when those kind of machine gun fills go off, they could literally be trying to present musket fire to you.
And as I lay there gazing at the sky, the body's numb and my throat is dry. And as I lay forgotten at the road, without a tear I turn my panting groan.
There's something, I was trying to catch this the whole time. It sounds like the guitar is layered. I don't know how they've done that. Are they playing two guitars at the same time, but one is like mixed in the sounds a little bit different? It sounds like one is ever so slightly dragging or something. Like, it's so well done where there's a top layer and then there's a whole nother section of guitar just behind it. It sounds like, I don't know, distortion, something about it. See if you guys can catch this. How thick the guitar sounds. Top layer and another one. Oh my lord, that was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I thought they did a brilliant job of kind of representing the absolute mania it would have been like to be fighting in a war in the 1800s, in the time of Napoleonic wars, when cannon fire was a real thing. A giant like cannonball this size would be flying through you and your brothers. Horses still are part of warfare, and then you have the musket side of things. I mean, how crazy it was that you take a shot and you'd have to fill this thing up, all the meanwhile waiting in line to be hit. I mean, it would have been absolute chaos, and they did a great job. I mean, lyrically too, there was some great lines in here. The screams of pain as my comrades fall, we hurdle bodies that lay on the ground. Very vivid. And the Russians fire another round. We get so near yet so far away. This is the idea of trench warfare, right? You're just constantly going into the next trench, and just hoping you don't get hit in between. Brilliant track, man. I've thought of Iron Maiden as a fantastic metal band from the first time I heard them. They still sound to me, maybe people won't make this connection. I don't know. I have a wide range of demographics. Some people are older, some people younger. For all the younger guys who grew up playing video games like on the Sega Mega Drive, I don't know, Chrono Trigger, games like that. It sounds like this would belong on that soundtrack, you know, if that makes sense, especially that texture of that guitar. And it'd be cool if some people who understood production better than I do explain why they could get this sort of sound out of their guitars. It sounded so thick, like it was layered in a way. I don't know, maybe an effect was put on to make the second guitar sound like it was lagging. I'm not too sure. Whatever it was brilliant. It added great thickness to the sound of this thing. Brilliant track, man. 2 thumbs up. Fantastic song.